feel like you're complaining too much. Anyway, let's go. It is Monday night, and you know what that means. It's time for us to bully Oni. Yeah, that too, but mainly for us to bully Oni. Oni, jiggle your boobies back and forth if you don't want us to bully you.
I can't.
Oh, all right. Well, you heard him.
You're
gonna what?
I mean, that's fair.
You're gonna what? You have my address. Pull up. Pull up. I'll feed you this delicious shokupan I made earlier today.
I'm not gonna incriminate myself on live.
I will give you some very, very sweet stray cats to take home, and they need a loving home.
I already have 2 cats.
I know, but you could have one that has chimerism and no tail. She is so sweet.
She does sound real cute.
Yeah, that's Harvey. She is an absolute psychopath. Speaking of, just kidding. Tonight, it is, as usual, some Phoenix, right? I do believe we are out Sharky, but I know he's been busy as hell, and they had that storm system roll through like basically half of the U.S., so I'm sure he's tending to his animals. Speaking of tending to animals, though, Lon, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lon. I tend to animals. I've got whatever Shy is. I've got, look at my horse is amazing. I got a unicorn. You know, all my girls are vaguely furry. Hi, I am here and alive. I spent most of my month up until Friday playing Atelier Yumiya and writing a review on it that I think was very good. I think it was a very good review. I think it was fair. I gave it a 9. Okay, that's me. That's really all I've got in my life. I'm also currently writing about Atomfall.
I've heard some good things about that. Also, I mean, as a journalist, that's all we ask is honesty and fairness, right? Like, it's like kind of what it's supposed to be, right?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of the series, but like you read the review, I don't think I was too gentle on it.
No. Listen, we can like things, but it's good to be critical of things we like.
It's the opposite of, it's okay to not like things, it's okay, but don't be a dick about it.
You're not wrong. You can read the review if Lon is okay with putting it in the chat, because I am not putting people out there. Speaking of putting people out there.
I want all of you to have my government name.
Yeah. Speaking of putting people out there, Oni and I will be fighting this Saturday behind the Wawa on Girard. You are welcome to bring as many rotisserie chickens as you like. It is not a party.
Does it have to be that one? That one's kind of far.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, do you want to do the one on Arch? I mean, we could probably the one on it's like 12th and Arch, I think, or something like that. It's the one that's like in city and like.
Are you supposed to fight at the more sketch one or the less sketch one?
Well, I was
the more sketch one would be around my neck of the woods.
Yeah. I mean,
I wasn't gonna call anybody out, but okay, Oni.
No. It's like It's not even like that, like in a bad neighborhood, but it's like in
It's
my
just like an
area, it's
older
probably
John.
less tame than near where the city is.
Yeah, I was gonna say like where we're at's nice and quiet, but like if you go 5 blocks the other direction and like act a hoodlum, people will shoot at you and ask questions later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Oni, you've got something new today. Why don't you tell people about it?
As you can see, I have been hard at work. The new model is like 5% in terms of rigging. That is art. I don't even think I'm actually fully done the art part, but you know what I'm saying, like. And this isn't the only one. I have another one that I need to do.
It's okay to take your time.
But I mean, with the crazy stuff I learned speedrunning, getting this much done, the other model might be a little bit easier. But only time will tell.
Ain't no rush.
Especially not of the Limbaugh variety.
I cannot type, Jesus Christ. Obviously, is trying to ply my good graces with combine harvesters. It's shy.
Well, now you do have a brand new combine harvester, and you're gonna have the keys.
I've got a brand new combine harvester.
I am shy. I play a lot of video games, including Final Fantasy XIV, trying to do everything, Stardew Valley, and piles of other projects I'm working on. You can often see me here on Mondays for voice acting and a couple other times. So yeah, I'm just absolutely looking forward to tonight, and hey, let's have some fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we have. Paul said he has internet, so I put it back on the schedule for Wednesday. Just know that it is a late start. I have a limit break meeting. Last but not least, everyone's favorite Warframe player, it's Chris Reese.
Hi, my name is Chris Reese. I didn't just start Warframe. What are you talking about?
You're lucky I didn't have center capture up.
I lead the raid group list of Final Fantasy 14, and there's a bunch of cool shit to coming out.
There is.
Try new stuff. Have new experiences.
Don't piss into the fan, though.
I mean, you can if you want to.
I don't recommend it. My wife is next door and texting me something from Facebook. That's very cute, Baba. She sent me a video of a very, very strange looking creature with a funny caption. I will put it in the old Discord.
Discord.
Yeah, I'll put it in the voice chat. I know this makes for great radio for like everyone who's watching this. It's great. There we go. Okay. There we go. But I guess I will be reprising my role as Sphenix Wright tonight because we ain't got no Sharky. Well, I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit.
Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments.
Professor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting?
I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments. Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother.
Uh-huh.
Order in the court. What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright, please refer to the notes.
Or a Black Quill's theory.
Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was the one to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes.
What about the robots? But that's nothing more than conjecture. And it's hardly the only possibility.
In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case?
I think it was the moon rock.
Objection! There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter.
Juan, is that what ladies say? It was only about 8 inches in diameter. Is that big? Like, is it like average?
I mean, it's not bad.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, you know,
Not
yeah,
bad.
yeah, all right,
That's
cool.
diameter, not length.
It's not bad.
Yeah, you know, yeah, that's like average, right? It's like, yeah, it's like this big. Yeah, it's like 8 inches.
Are you
Am I what?
out of your mind?
I think you know the answer to that.
You've known me this long, and now you're asking that fucking question?
It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Ms. Sykes was inside.
Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case?
Well, Mr. Wright, can you? Let's ignore the fact that you just did. Can you?
Probably. Yikes, give a guy some time to think. Well, let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? Absolutely. Lying in the court. They do it, we can do it too. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. Yeah, I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat.
Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is.
I would never lie. This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be in one of those photos. Oh, Lady Luck, don't fail me now.
All right then, Mr. Wright. Let's actually hear your theory.
Oh, shit.
What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder?
How this big old robot arm? Please notice that there's a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in the photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime.
You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture.
Yes.
But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be?
Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which.
What are you looking at? I'm going to start charging for each glance per eyeball.
You know, that sounds like a good business model.
I mean, it sounds like something I've done.
True. Stingy. What happened to the age of free previews?
Yikes.
He's obviously talking about
I'm
game
a
demos.
professional. I'm a professional, and you will pay me.
He's talking about game demos. It's very inappropriate to pester sex workers for free previews. Be gracious. Shut the hell up. Enjoy it. Yeah, Your Honor. About this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot right there?
Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just a moon rock and a robot arm.
But was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case.
What?
Objection! We can't be certain that that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but could be something else entirely.
In a robotics lab.
Yeah.
Besides, it's wrapped up entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
No, it's not. I know for a fact that it's a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. Because I'm an expert in robotics. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not.
Well, Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the Luddite type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned.
Well, you see, I'm on Twitter now, which means whenever something bad happens every week, I'm magically an expert on it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. You remember Harambe? Everyone I knew all of a sudden was an animal linguistics expert. It was really weird.
Have you tried going on Truth Social? I hear that's where the real experts are.
I would rather... listen, it would be something a bit like this. Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to. Oop, 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 oop. The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. Ugh.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do.
Yeah, she's pretty fucking dumb, isn't she?
What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
Oh, God. The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko.
Order in the court, order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this?
I can see that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't possibly fit in there.
The case does come up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that.
Oh, you got me there. So then, did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit into the case by disassembling her? That's why there's like an arm there? Well, of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case.
It appears to be a robot assembly device.
Assemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Except that there was a body on the table where the robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead?
You mean the sword?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart?
I suppose so. The joints aren't made of a very tough material. A blade could slice through them.
Thank you for your expert opinion, Ms. Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation.
You can't mean...
That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely, the rest of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet.
Not hearing this.
Therefore, what was transported inside of the case was not the defendant, but a robot. Ms. Sykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder.
My head, my head. I missed a little there.
It auto scroll.
Order in the court.
It's true that Panko was found in pieces after the murder. And I'll admit I repaired her myself afterwards. Photo of the crime updated in the court record.
Yes, I'm finally making some progress. We hopefully have got at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent.
Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot.
Alright, well, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight.
Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that a defendant was carried from the scene?
No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Panko and Ms. Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case.
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense.
Edgeworth, he's been one step ahead of me this whole time.
In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene?
Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body, as if he were holding something or someone.
That's hardly evidence.
I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape.
A blood stain with a distinctive shape. Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there's only one in the world, a special pair of headphones made just for her.
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones.
Looks like a nerd.
She said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Analysis showed that the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones, and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp.
A most gruesome stamp indeed.
Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument.
Damn, son. Ah!
Or, if the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer.
I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time?
No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case.
But, yeah, as it turned out, the robot was actually intricately related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand.
A robot witness?
Oh, come on, at least maybe this one will tell the truth. Kind of. Maybe.
Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this?
Miss Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years.
Remember that time he called a dolphin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A parakeet, even. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him.
Very well, I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko.
Yes, I realize that. But when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness.
No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko.
What an utterly inflexible little robot.
You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible.
You remind me of my own grandchild who just learned his own name. How precious.
All right, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions?
I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Mrs. Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab.
Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab.
It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all.
This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important.
A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable.
The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild.
So, little Ponko, do you think was your testimony today?
What I saw.
I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point.
Well, it sounds like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, it doesn't appear the witness saw the moment of the actual murder.
I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime.
What?
At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited.
So what are you suggesting?
The witness's statements need to be interpreted.
That sounds a lot like lying.
For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child.
No, they don't, but...
Yes, what this witness's statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment.
What? What? Oh, come on!
Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse?
Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised.
Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean that they argued.
I see. Murder after a heated argument, and then the victim fell down. I agree, it does seem like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that.
When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode.
Yeah, 2 p.m. nap sounds nice.
Yeah.
But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory.
You may as well admit defeat now, Wright. A cross-examination would be useless.
I wonder if Ponko uses ECC. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless.
Until now. Think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and a valuable evidence at the same time.
Well, nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination.
I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time.
Very well. Even if it might be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright.
Yeah, thanks for your vote of confidence. I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be. By lying until I get an answer.
I mean, it's what the prosecution always does.
I'm not wrong.
What I saw.
I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
Hold it!
Yeah, I don't want to delve too deeply here, but... could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment?
Mommy Metis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound.
Her heart?
Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab?
Look at this document.
These robots have a heartbeat detection system.
Now that he mentions it, I do remember reading something exactly like that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute, that means if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment... Honko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat?
Let's see, the moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then.
Convenient. Of all the unlucky timing, if you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder.
I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry.
The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing.
After Mommy Metis' heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room.
The workbench, huh? Honko must be talking about that table to the right of where the giant robot is now. Is there something critical in Ponko's statement just now? Yes. Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to her testimony.
Very well, very well. Ponko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl.
Fight me, Your Honor. Mommy Metis fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room.
Objection!
That's not where that body is. Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough.
I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy. Happy, happy, joy, joy.
Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table.
But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations.
Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new, crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. What's up, horse?
Phew, I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponko here.
Man, this judge rules for AI personhood the day he can.
What, you mean like the Supreme Court?
I mean, you don't think this world would put that asshole on its Supreme Court?
We lived in a society at one point. Yes, and as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection! Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever.
Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit.
You think it's the same one? Ugh. Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say?
Hey,
If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her.
Moved for her? But Ms. Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there.
I agree. Since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present.
Then who do you suggest moved the body?
Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponko, allow me to ask you a question.
my name is Ponko. Say it with me, Ponko. Like moron.
I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table?
Yes, I did. Athena asked me to.
Great. Athena asked you to?
And what did you move, little Ponko?
I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is.
An ID tag, you say?
Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is.
The paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag.
So it appears that Miss Ponko here can't identify what it moved.
My name is Ponko.
But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not?
We do.
Maybe not you, Mr. Judge, but I do at the very least. Miss Ponko, on the defendant's command, move the body onto the operating table.
What? She would still have a jacket on. Ponko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell?
I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell.
Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions.
This is very circumstantial.
In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From a robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't. So that means...
A face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else of that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes.
Fuck, he's right.
To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench. Then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table, where she removed the sword and was stained in blood.
Hey, yo, Ponko thick in the back.
Order. But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place?
You want a reason? Very well.
What? You can't possibly have an explanation.
Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature?
I believe I read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there, isn't that right?
That's right. And to the defendant, who was just a child at the time. The table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds.
But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me what she could do.
You can't possibly be suggesting that.
This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people.
But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Ms. Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
No way. I refuse to believe it.
Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot would be dismantled and vanish without a trace,
Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can.
With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table.
Hold it!
No, don't say another word. Just stop.
Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime.
That just can't be true.
Order in the court. Order, I say.
Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing?
Horrible?
Man, fuck them kids.
Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. No more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the only... But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can also assemble. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her.
I suppose that can be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way.
What do you mean?
After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation.
But... come on.
But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. And the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged.
This just can't be true. You're a real dick, bro.
Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution?
Evidence. Right, yeah, let's see. Oh, can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence.
Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother.
I mean, that's kind of hot, though.
Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough.
What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counterargument, I see no need to prolong this trial.
Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough. But there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something, but I can't think of a single thing.
Prosecutor Blackwell.
This is quite the farce you are conducting here. I could die from laughter.
Oh, by all means, don't let us stop you.
Prosecutor Blackwell? What are you talking about? What I'm talking about is your argument is based on an entirely false premise.
Yes, see, I told you it was made up. Go on, we're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? But what is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here?
7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the only one who killed my mentor. And I don't think you can alter that fact now. Your boldness, I will take to the stand, and I won't take no for an answer.
Oh, sure, fine.
Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell, please go ahead.
Seven years ago.
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh. Ugh.
Sorry about that. One of my cats tried to.
You okay, man?
Yeah. No. Like, you know how animals love to be under your feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them decided to just be like chilling on the first step, and I didn't see them because they're all black and the lights aren't on. And I had to shift my weight real quick, like before I crushed a cat and fell down the stairs. Ugh. I definitely pulled that Peter Griffin though, because I bashed my shin off of like an actual wood stair where you just have to kind of like roll around and go, ah.
Damn.
Yeah, no, that's gonna look pretty tomorrow. Oh, that sucks. Anyway. Whew.
I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. When I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then, I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was.
Wow, really laying it on here, huh?
The little
Oof, that shit
Pongo
sucks.
here witnessed the victim falling. In
I caught-
other words,
Objection!
I caught my knee, like right
I
under
don't
my
need
knee.
any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened.
which would be
She fell means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course, meaning she must have left the room.
so the murder occurred after the time period Pongo described in their testimony.
You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that their defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on operating table to amuse herself. And she always had Ponko move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponko moved a heavy robot for Athena.
This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize what could bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell?
you hear that one? He's a bad boy. He needs to be punished.
He needs to be punished.
Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over.
Are you saying the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder?
That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across this Styx.
Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her?
Miss Blackwell.
Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish...
Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If If no one has a counter argument, I will announce my verdict.
Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago?
I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out of here and go save him.
No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. She'll get over it. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. What are you doing out of jail? You know, are you feeling okay?
I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something.
Okay, but why are you know what?
Why aren't you in jail?
You know, and Blackwell's not in jail either, so, like, I guess it's fair.
Okay, what is the point of this jail?
It's just a hangout spot.
Yeah, recidivism.
I mean, yeah, recidivism is kind of the point of jails. I guess you're right.
I mean, like, it's either that or getting your grade 12. If she really is, I sure could use Athena's help here. Her power might just be the thing to get us through this.
Objection.
Sykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know.
What are you talking about?
Is this where this turns into a low-grade smut novel? Where the young starlet defense is yearning for the broody masculine prosecutor?
Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial?
Is effectively her uncle?
How does Japan
it's a
feel
low-grade
about that?
novel, it's not AO3.
Well,
Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in the courtroom, it comes back to haunt me.
Ooh.
Not being heard, no matter how hard you try.
oh, for sure. I'm just making
Feeling
a
so helpless.
big old joke.
Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out that door even now.
And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. Good night, Dan.
Thanks. That's because one day I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up.
Never give up, Boo.
I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction.
But Miss Sykes, do you realize what that would mean? accused after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then
I don't know. They always be looking kind of
The only
creepy.
thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth.
Athena is being so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Yeah, Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago.
Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down easily.
Dude, you are dying in like 12 hours.
Yeah, it's a bold statement, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. That's kind of what Juan sounds like when she starts up.
The Sibian?
Yes.
I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead.
Right?
I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was.
This feeling of happiness, even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy? Why is that?
Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that.
Kind of sus. Just now, you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes? But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? Kind of weird, bro.
I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that.
Nah. The second I find an inconsistency, it just cuts it down.
Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology.
Damn it, then why are we doing this?
There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto.
You know, I was afraid of that. Well, we'll just have to keep chipping away at it then, bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena?
You got it, boss.
I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. When I found Athena in the robotics lab, I was relieved. But I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And when she did, I plunged the katana in.
No. Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell.
What?
And when you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death?
Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorry for Athena and her circumstances.
Well, you killed her mother. That's not going to make it any fucking easier. Dickhead. He can't be talking about that, can he?
I was just a convenient subject for her research.
Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject.
What?
I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard somebody crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subject to yet another experiment? I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill.
So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. But is this story really true? I'm not sure how much I believe.
Mr. Wright?
How you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there?
I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now take a look at this. The noise level actually increased.
What? It went up? I've never seen it do that before.
Prosecutor Blackquill is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claim sound more believable.
Ugh.
He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise.
How in the world should I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should just look for an inconsistency in his emotions.
There are no flaws in my testimony, and his boldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause, and let the law free me of these chains already.
Objection!
I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotion? Which should I tackle first? Let's chase this rabbit hole. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions.
I'd make a name I used to dance under joke, but it's way too obvious, so...
Inconsistent emotions?
Yes, that's obviously what I meant.
I'm
Got it, boss.
helping.
But if you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead,
You know, I used to dance under the name Contradictory Statement.
Bet you did.
No, I didn't. See what I did there?
No, that's contrarian statement.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I paid £5 for this argument.
And the argument's over. Off you go.
The one thing that I need to hurry and rig into this model is a disappointed look.
It's okay,
I'm
Oni.
disappointed in a Monty Python reference.
Wow, that was a good one. Look, I have a new hello emote, Oni. Check it out.
just let me know. I can easily switch over.
I heard crying from the next door. Of course I was worried. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor.
Yeah. How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab?
All right, fine. I'll explain if I must.
Can you just stop lying?
What surprised me was Ponko. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well my plan to rescue Athena. But she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day.
So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it, the thing that needs hours to charge in the middle of the day?
That's right.
Hey, look, there are plenty of very useful things that need a couple of hours to charge in the middle of the day.
Indeed. Big
She
ups to
ordered-
tonight's host, Hitachi.
Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. Just like the rest of the cast here tonight.
Swing through, homie. Fucking pull up.
That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade.
Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now.
Bro, come on. Is that 100% now? What's going on here?
Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate.
You know, it's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana, which are not very strong, actually. Alright, well, what if we try the testimony this time? I think there might be an inconsistency in Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony.
Alright, let's give it a thorough check then.
With a feeling of dread, I opened the robotics lab door. Just then, Ponko attacked me. I retaliated by cutting it into pieces.
No?
Objection!
Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Look at this photograph.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
That's this photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it?
How many times must I see that which damned me for my sin?
The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now, so buckle up. You see the bloodstain at the end of Ponko's arm where it was severed with the katana?
I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright.
They don't have blood, they have fluid. No, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana.
The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood.
Yeah, that's right. But if that's the case, we've kind of found a glaring inconsistency here. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko. Yeah, and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But, in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture.
What? But that couldn't be.
Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, The victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackquill, you're a big stinky liar. Tell the court the truth, Professor Blackquill. Even though it's prosecutor.
You have no idea what you're doing.
You're goddamn right. Have you fucking seen my brain?
I haven't.
Exactly.
His voice. There's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something.
Phoenix Wright. You will pay for this.
You'll pay for this, Captain Planet!
Never have I been forced to reveal so much. But the rest I'll take to my grave.
Like this photo of you in a maid outfit? Prosecutor Blackquill, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom?
All these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings.
Following the sound of crying, I opened the lab door and then... I saw it. That terrible scene. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor.
Yeah. When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor?
You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it.
Prosecutor Blackquill, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all of my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too?
Athena's innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true, right, Dono?
I give you my word. I'm gonna give you this fucking cat. I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Next week, when we can maybe, potentially, almost wrap up the case.
Ah.
That's a good joke, right? Ah. It's okay. Don't worry. Speaking of feelings, I can play this in the... Anyway, good job, everybody. You ready to be 3 people at once next week, Oni? Was that words or just noises? Prosecutor Blackwell, and he probably splits his personality off into some Ronald McDonald goddamn bullshit.
When he goes all Yu-Gi-Oh on us.
Yeah. Seto Kaiba.
That doesn't happen.
Oh, that's good then. That's good. I like that.
Are you sure? Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I am. Fair enough.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
My money's on Tonko did it.
Yeah, it was definitely Aura Blackwell in a fit of lesbian rage.
No, Funko, not a black book. Funko.
What about Clonko? We haven't heard anything about Clonko in a hot minute.
That's true. And Clonko is the one I trust the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you murder a robot?
Yes.
Are friends electric?
Yes.
Do robots dream of electric sheep?
No.
Occasionally.
If you have no mouth, can you scream? These are all really good media references for you, honey.
They really are. No,
Yeah.
these are
I'm
all
getting them. I'm just not giving
absolutely
you.
on point.
Yeah, there was some Harlan Ellison, which is like really good sci-fi if you're into like reading really like good like the early years of cyberpunk kind of sci-fi. There's a Gary Newman with Two-Way Army reference. Uh, Gary Newman's better known for the song Cars, but like really like super formative new wave, early like EDM kind of leaning pop stylings. All right, well, introducing someone who doesn't know about Gary Newman and might be confusing it with Randy Newman, it's Oni Hart.
You're damn right. I have no idea. The only one I knew was No Mouth Must Scream.
Yeah, that's Harlan though. That's good.
But yeah, just doing my thing, man. Working on the model, as you can see, and maybe when I get it to a streamable state, I'll be able to do something.
Let's go. Besides, you need to stream again. Unicorn Overlord was a great game last year. It's now this year.
I'm gonna cry.
You can hunt some monsters with us.
No. Made the man cry.
I need to, like, I'm on break. I'm on break from that game until they add something, because
All right, we'll see you in 3 weeks when Title Update 1 drops.
I got too strong too fast.
Uh-huh. I know you did. My big strong Oni Wony baloney. Keep practicing your saxophone.
That too.
Speaking of blowing things that make noise, it's Lon.
Wow. Okay.
Wow! Ha! I didn't know
yeah,
a gallon?
I've always wanted to get a group of like flesh tubers together and torment them in something I would call I have no mic and I must scream.
That's kind of funny. You should do that.
I know. I need to do this. Anyway, hi, I'm Lon. I have thoughts sometimes in my bunny brain. At the moment, I really don't. I'm just simple clapping monkey atelier Yumia right now, so that's where I'm at. You can catch me here for this, and occasionally here for Fallout, and on my channel, never, never.
Not unless you pay
So
for it.
you know, you can see me over on OnlyBuns. Um, I just all I got for you is tell the loved ones you in your life that you love them and be good to each other. Cause the world kinda sucks.
Yes-a-ree. Next up, reinventing the definition of a room mic. It's Shy. Your mother and I will explain it to you later.
I mean, I would hope so, because this is just going way over my head. But hi, I am Shy. Thank you so much for coming out, listening to us tonight. It's always a lot of fun. It's also been like 3 months since Lana's ever bought me cookies, so I hope that ends up changing soon.
It's
Anyways,
Girl Scout cookie time of year. Someone go on her throne and get her Girl Scout cookies so I don't have to.
But yeah, it's until next time, it's always great to come on here and just annoy chaos, and especially just asking, when are we going to New Jersey? And are you gonna go play with that new combine harvester?
I will play with Combine Harvester. I will be in New Jersey, I believe, April 2nd and 3rd. I'm not pleased about it, but it pays the bills.
But yeah, until next time.
Everyone's favorite Intel Arc user, it's Chris Rees.
Hi, my name is Chris Rees, and I am unfortunately guilty of that thing of which I was just accused.
I mean, it's not bad.
I don't know. Well, I already said the thing, so I guess I'll go through with I lead the Ring Group Lives, play in Final Fantasy, and play RPGs and stuff and things, and go to sleep, Kiev.
Remember, if they don't find you handsome, let them at least find you handy. We are down a little Sharky tonight, but rest assured, I assume he is well. He doesn't use Twitch anymore. It's on YouTube. Just search for Little Sharky. For me, I'm going to call it a night. I am off tomorrow, so I will not see you in stream. My leg hurts. We also will be... I have an interview tomorrow, so I will probably not really be super available most of the day. But we will be back Wednesday. It's going to be a late start due to a limit break meeting. So definitely keep your eyes and ears out for that. But yeah, there's the Discord if you want to hang out with us, if you want to hunt, play video games, if you're being generous with the stream, definitely feel free to get your cooking boats in there. If you haven't subbed to the YouTube, easiest way to catch up with what you may or may not have missed, check out my wife's Etsy and website. She makes some really cool stuff. If you're into Dungeons and Dragons, you think bones are cool, you have a big titty goth person in your life, check it out. She's more than likely got something for you. Last but not least, you want to support the stream and fill me full of shitty snacks and coffee or whatever have you, feel free to check out the old stream wish list. And yeah, get yourself some extra cooking boats and some cool playing cards or trading cards. Either way, I appreciate you all being here. We will see you all on the next stream. Let's go find somebody to raid. Friends, we gonna go raid Seahorse. Seahorse? Yeah, Seahorse. All right, good night, everybody.